Hi friends, welcome to 2017. This is Anupam V Kapil, wishing you a very happy and sunny new year. That's right, because this is the number of sun. 2017 adds to number 10, which is the wheel of fortune as per the Kabbalah. It's a higher octave of number 1. The speciality of the forecast which we are going to talk about is based on the Lagna, that is the rising sign or the ascendant as you would call it. For those of you who do not know your ascendant, you could refer it through your moon sign also. And for those who don't know your Lagna as well as your moon sign, you can refer to your sun sign also. But I would definitely recommend you to go as per your Lagna or your moon sign. As you know, even if you see it from the sun sign, it's not going to be far apart, but because in Indian astrology, in Vedic astrology, we always consider the Lagna forecast, the moon forecast and the sun forecast. And this, when we take all these three into account for any prediction, it is called the Sudarshan Kundali. So don't worry even if you don't have your Lagna and moon sign, but I do recommend it to you. Secondly, 2017, this number of 1, which is a higher octave, this number of 10, which is a higher octave of number 1, is going to see a lot of independent activity around the world. The universal vibration of the number 1, which I have brought to you specially in a different series of numerology, which you will see in the next post which I am going to put on YouTube, carries all the 9 numbers. But what the speciality about this numerology is, it is not like the ordinary numerology which is being thrust down your throat on the television channels, in the newspapers, because the numerology what comes in channels and in newspapers is based on fate numbers. You cannot have, there cannot be an utter lie than something which, to somebody is propagating his own self to get cheap mileage. Because as per the numerology which appears in the newspapers and on the television, any person who's born on fate number 1, like 1, 10, 19, 28, irrespective of the month, that means you could be a fate number born in Jan, Feb, March or any time during the year, your forecast is going to be the same. Isn't it ridiculous? People consider you readers so stupid. It's time to wake up. And I am bringing you a special forecast because when you talk about your personal number, it has to be necessarily your number, your day, plus your month, plus the current year, which gives rise to an annual number. So fate number 1 of January or February or December, all will be having a different forecast. So do keep a watch out after you watch this, because I am talking about your relationships, your love, health, and also the important incidences. And the speciality of this forecast is we have tried to get a lot of events month by month and fixed it into dates when the events are going to happen. So there's no meaning of having a forecast which has no timing to it, So we have tried to bring a timing to the forecast. The numerology section which you shall see in the next video does not have timing because I have already explained the timing part in the astrology section. So you will just use the numerology section to add on and plug to this particular forecast. Hope you enjoy. Now Scorpio. Scorpio has been going through a roller coaster ride since 2016. But now in 2017 we see that somewhat of that is going to end. A lot of Scorpions who have been in the news, and I have also brought out this on my Facebook posts, that the people who are ruling the roost of this country today are all governed by Mars. Aries and Scorpio, both these signs are governed by Mars. Recently, our Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Honorable Chief Justice Mr. Kehar, he was elevated to the position of the Chief Justice. He is a Scorpio Rashi and he's Anuradha Nakshatra, which is the same as of our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, who also is Anuradha Nakshatra and is a Scorpio Rashi. Another Rashi which is ruling the roost today in terms of the army is Mr. Manohar Parrikar, who also happens to be a Scorpio Rashi. You look at the other martial Rashi, it's ruled Mr. Amit Shah. He's a Mesh Rashi, that is Aries moon sign, which is again ruled by Mars. There is a connection because Aries is the positive and dynamic action of Mars, which goes headlong into any kind of fight or it takes a problem headlong. And on the other hand, you have the intellectual side or the mental side of Mars, which is that of Scorpion. The Scorpion has the fighting abilities, but more so on the mental plane. They will attack you on a mental plane. It's one of the strongest signs. I'm just giving you a little bit of understanding about this sign because Taurus, Leo, Scorpio and Aquarius. These signs are known as fixed signs, or in Hindi they call it Sthira Rashi. Fixed means why? Because their mindset is fixed. Once they make up their mind, they will not budge from anything, come what may. So even if you have seen in the recent past, you look at the decisions taken by our Honorable Prime Minister on demonetization, the whole world was on one side, but he had a belief in his conviction and he stood his guard. No matter, he was ready to lose everything. So this sign is very important, that even though Saturn and Mars had an opposition last year in this particular sign, a lot of people had a lot of mental tension, but it is the sheer grit and mental determination of Scorpio which saw them through out of the problems, and they're almost successful, almost, not fully successful, almost successful. But towards the beginning of the year, after 26th of Jan, what happens is the Saturn is changing. It's going away from their Lagna or their ascendant and entering their second house. The second house has to do with finances, which means the whole focus of their energies this year is going to be on finances. Of course, Saturn will also be retrograding, but Jan 26 to June 20, this is the period it remains in your financial sector. So most of the actions what you take, what you're going to take in the whole year, a lot of emphasis, the full emphasis will be on your finances during this period. And this financial decisions are going to guide your outlook throughout the year. Now let me say that having said that, even though Saturn has come here, Jupiter rules over your finances. The second house is ruled by Sagittarius, by Jupiter. Saturn moving there will bring little conservativeness, and Jupiter being retrograde from February 6 to June 8, it means that you will have to take a relook at your long-term investments. So you may have to change your financial plans or schemes, whatever, because I see finances may go awry sometime around November. This is one period, and barring this, I see concentration of your mind would be on activities to do with entertainment, the fifth house, with creativity, creative ideas, new ventures, and those of you who are married and have children, you will be devoting a lot of time to your child's education and his upkeep and his growth in other activities. Your enemies are definitely going to increase in April, and May to June is going to be a really tough period for career people, those into professions of especially army, police, or those who are working for the government, because Mars is going to be combust. Mars rules your sign. It rules Aries and it rules Scorpio. So whenever Mars is combust, you need to take a lot of care about your health. You may have weak energy levels. Your immunity might get compromised a little bit. However, second half of the year, rather than last quarter of the year, is going to be very fruitful for any kind of spiritual travel, because spiritual exploration is bound to increase. Jupiter is moving to your 12th house and in September. And the most fruitful period, if I were to summarize the entire year for your entire career, I would say that July to October, this is a period of great gains and advancement, and even December is good. But the best is definitely going to be September. September would be the best and most productive month for you, and after Jupiter enters your 12th house, your interest in spiritual interests, matters, voyages, this is all going to increase. Another positive thing is you're going to be less egoistic now. You will become realistic after a lot of tussles what have happened with you in the previous year. You're going to become practical, and there is also going to be some good influence entering your life. Maybe some guru or some elderly person or a spiritual guide. He or she may or may not be a recognized spiritual teacher, but definitely it could also be an old friend or something. But somebody is going to come and help you develop your inner growth. So interest on the one hand of your interest in spiritual studies, in occult, metaphysics, this is going to greatly grow by leaps and bounds. And this is also going to give you knowledge. This knowledge will give you support, comfort, awareness, and with awareness comes the power to change your destiny. Now let's look at your health front. As I told you, Mars, which rules your sign, is going to be combust for quite some time. So you would have low energy levels during the period when Mars is combust. And I would say that if you are planning any surgery especially between April to June, with May and June going to be the worst months. Do avoid surgeries. If you can postpone it, do postpone it, because Mars combust and surgeries is not a very good astrological advice. In November, even I see the health of your spouse can suffer, and visits to the hospital are going to be draining. A lot of huge expenditures are seen. My small remedy for you would be, I always say this, when Mars is afflicted, the most effective remedy, what I have seen, is that you give, if you are in a good healthy position, if your health is permitting and you enjoy good health, and you don't have a low RBC count or hemoglobin count, you must go and donate your blood. If you can't do that, at least get your blood test done. The idea is that some blood, when you're injected and some blood is drawn from your body, this satisfies the condition. The yoga of a bad Mars or a combust Mars or a niche, a debilitated Mars gets cancelled, or it becomes shant, or it becomes silence. Another thing, the thing which I told you about going to hospitals for someone or the other, I would say even if somebody is not there, a good idea is to go and have tea in the hospital. Tea is connected with Rahu, and sugar is connected with Mars. So going and having tea in a hospital is symbolic of, like, suppose you yourself are the patient and you are recuperating there. So if there is a yoga of you getting admitted in a hospital or something, it's a good idea that you voluntarily go there, even if you are not this thing, and the yoga is fructified, so that you don't have to involuntarily go there. You don't have to go there against your own accord. Now let's look at your love life. Love, as I told you, it's going to be a very, very eventful and active period on the relationship front for you, and action starts from January itself, and this is going to last till May. Why? Because from Jan 28th itself, your Mars is entering into the sign of Pisces, and Venus is also going to be in the sign of Pisces for till May, and Venus is going to be exalted for a pretty long time till May 31st. And from the other side, you have Jupiter, which would be aspecting your Pisces of Venus from Virgo. So this means, this translated, all these things mean not one relationships, not two, there may be multitude of relationships, because Venus is in a feminine sign and Jupiter is also in a feminine sign, and both the houses involved are the 5th and the 11th. So this is very important. 5th house is also for friends, 11th house is also for friends. 5th house is for friends of the romantic type, romantic adventures. So you may have romantic adventures even with your friends, close friends or colleagues, etc. Though somebody you get involved, one of them is going to be a little elderly kind of person, but there's going to be some bit of confusion between February 6 to June 8, when Jupiter gets retrograde in this relationship. But July overall would be very good if you want to finalize any commitment and to get married. On that note, I think that Scorpio is poised very well in this year, and you are placed very well. Except for the periods when Mars is combust, I think even if you're giving sugar outside in the fields, if you leave it near any tree, especially a neem tree, which is governed by Mars, when the ants come and eat it, I think the bad effects of Mars shall come down.